In a recent interview on D23.com, Sigourney Weaver speaks about her previous character from Avatar, Dr. Grace Augustine, as well as the new character Kiri that she plays in The Way of Water. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And in this video, I will be going over some of the details of that article, but if you want to read all of the Q&A parts featured in the article, then you'll find the link in the pinned comment below. But before I continue, if you're new here and love everything Avatar related, then why not click that subscribe button, as it really helps out the channel. Now, some of this information may contain potential spoilers as it does dive into details of Kiri, so just be wary about that when continuing on this video. The article starts, quote, "In Avatar The Way of Water, Sigourney Weaver returns to James Cameron's Avatar franchise, albeit in a different role, as Kiri, the biological daughter of the avatar of Dr. Grace Augustine, the deceased character she played in the first film. Kiri is adopted by Jake and Neytiri and raised alongside their 3 kids. In outtakes from D23, the publication available exclusively to Gold and Gold Dio members, Weaver opens up about her role, what made her want to return, and more." End quote. Now, I just want to talk about this little information before the questions actually start, because here it says that Kiri is the biological daughter of the avatar of Dr. Grace Augustine. And again, here it just confirms that she is, well, the daughter of Grace Augustine. Something I've speculated in many videos in the past, but how Grace Augustine's avatar became pregnant is still up for discussion. I am theorizing that when she died in the first movie, when she was essentially one with Awa, a part of her spirit or a part of her got transferred to her avatar body, essentially like a seed being planted, akin to how Anakin Skywalker was born in the Star Wars franchise. Thus, I won't be surprised if Kiri does not have a biological father in the Avatar franchise. But going on to the first question, quote, "How did James Cameron pitch the role of Kiri to you? We had lunch in LA. Jim had mentioned a character that had a connection to Grace, and we started to talk about this forest girl, a girl who felt more at home in the forest with the plants and animals than with people. Maybe she would be different, maybe she would be able to blend with the forest. In any case, I was immediately entranced. I was excited because it was like nothing I've ever done before, and I was thrilled that Jim would entrust me with such a character. I felt an immediate connection to her. I knew it would be probably the biggest challenge I've ever taken on, but I thought with his help, with his amazing writing, with our wonderful cast, I would definitely give it my best shot. Also, one of my favorite classics illustrated comic books when I was growing up was Green Mansions, that had this forest girl in it, a bird girl. Anyway, I started to work on it immediately. This was about 2010." End quote. So it is interesting that she says at the end of this answer that it was 2010, just a year after the release of the first Avatar movie. James Cameron and Sigourney Weaver had already started mindstorming on Kiri. It just goes to show how long James Cameron had the sequels on his mind. The next question, quote, "What made you want to come back for 4 more Avatar films? Originally, it was 3. When Jim Cameron calls you and says, 'I have 3 more parts of this adventure,' what are you going to say? No? I think he had me at hello. The story he wanted to tell, the story of this family, of Neytiri, Jake, and their children, on the run for their lives from the RDA, fleeing into other worlds on Pandora, trying to find a safe haven. I thought it was so timely and moving. There was also a special connection between Kiri and Spider and Kiri and Pandora. So of course I said, let's go." End quote. So again, she puts emphasis on the fact that there's a special connection between Kiri and Spider, and we know, of course, they're both adopted. But what other connection they could have, I'm not entirely sure. She also states that Kiri and Pandora has a very close connection, and this is likely because of Kiri's connection to Awa. The final question I want to focus on goes as follows, quote, "Aside from the obvious, how do Kiri and Dr. Grace Augustine differ? Grace was a scientist. She approached Pandora's wonders analytically. She researched, she theorized, she kept brakes on her emotions. She was objective. She brought a scientist's objectivity to her work. She wasn't very successful in being objective because she fell in love with Pandora and the Na'vi. Kiri is a much more intuitive, instinctive, smart girl who's extremely curious and independent. She's much more one with her environment. She flows through the forest, the sea with knowledge effortlessly. And because she's also an adolescent, there are no brakes at all on her feelings. It's all primary colors. Yes, no, red, black. I would say Grace is rational, objective, human, and distraught. And Kiri is a passionate, wild, frustrated 14-year-old." End quote. So of course, much of Kiri's curiosity she got from Grace Augustine, but Sigourney Weaver stating that Kiri essentially flows through the forest, has a sea of knowledge, effortlessly connected to Pandora, just goes to show that Kiri is going to be much more powerful than we anticipate. She of course will likely not know this, not be aware of her powers. That's why in my predictions video I speculated that Kiri will have some sort of ability or multiple abilities. Again, not like Superman flying and shooting lasers out of her eyes, but abilities in the way of connecting to Pandora, using Pandora against the RDA, and being able to control the animals. We've already seen from multiple teasers how easily she connects and bonds with the Elu, while the others struggle time and time again, and it'll certainly be interesting to see where her character goes going forward. But as I stated in the beginning of this video, there are multiple questions and answers in this article, some that speak about reuniting with the cast, Sigourney's experiences as a childhood, and much more, so I really recommend that you read the entire article in the pinned comment below. But if Kiri were to have superpowers in the way of water, what kind of abilities do you expect her to have? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.